Emily Santos grew up in a small village outside of Manila, Philippines. Her childhood was not marked by wealth, but by love, laughter, and hard work. Her mother, a school teacher, and her father, a mechanic, instilled deep values of humility and perseverance in her heart. Emily would often stay up late, studying under the dim light of a kerosene lamp, dreaming of a life where she could travel the world, help her family, and build a legacy they would all be proud of. She wasn't raised to seek luxury, she was raised to seek excellence. At 17, Emily earned a scholarship to a prestigious university in Manila. There, she majored in business administration, graduating at the top of her class. Her professors called her the Storm, quiet on the outside but powerful when she moved. Her friends admired her determination, but they never really saw the battles she fought alone. Doubts, sleepless nights, homesickness, and endless sacrifices. After college, Emily worked at a local tech startup where she helped turn a fledgling company into a regional powerhouse. Her name quickly spread across the Southeast Asian business community. But Emily didn't stop there. She dreamed bigger. She set her sights on America, the land of opportunities, believing deep in her heart that no matter how hard it would be, she was meant to achieve greatness. When Emily arrived in New York City, the towering skyscrapers and endless rush of people overwhelmed her. The city was cold, indifferent, and merciless. Jobs didn't fall into her lap. She fought for every opportunity. She worked at coffee shops, temp jobs, and night shifts just to survive. But during the day, she attended business seminars, networked tirelessly, and sharpened her skills. Slowly, opportunity knocked. A mid-level position at a rapidly growing tech startup named Vertex Innovations. Emily's work ethic was unmatched. She stayed late, solved problems no one else could, and earned the trust of the executives. Within just 2 years, she was promoted to Chief Operations Manager. Her salary skyrocketed, her responsibilities grew, and finally she began to feel she was building the life she had always dreamed of. Yet, no matter how much she achieved, she never flaunted her success. She wore simple clothes, carried herself humbly, and always treated everyone with kindness, from the janitors to the CEOs. One crisp autumn afternoon, Emily decided it was time to reward herself. She had seen a limited edition Chanel handbag online, not because it was a symbol of wealth, but because it represented how far she had come. She wanted it not for status, but as a silent reminder of her journey. Dressed in a plain beige dress and minimal makeup, Emily stepped into Whitmore Luxury Boutique, unaware that this would become a defining moment of her life. Roger Whitmore, the arrogant owner, stood at the counter sipping espresso and scanning the crowd. Roger had grown up in privilege, inheriting his store from his father. He was used to catering to billionaires, movie stars, and royalty. Over the years, his success had twisted into vanity. He judged customers within seconds, by their clothes, their shoes, even the way they walked. When he saw Emily, he instantly categorized her: poor, outsider, unworthy. He stormed toward her with an exaggerated fake smile. "Excuse me," he sneered. "Are you lost, dear? Or, are you a maid shopping for your employer?" His words were sharp, slicing through the air. The entire store fell silent. Shoppers paused, some whispered, some chuckled. A few looked uncomfortable but said nothing. Emily felt the familiar sting of humiliation, but she remembered her mother's voice. "Strength is not loud, Anak. It's steady." She met Roger's gaze, her own calm and steady. "No," she replied softly. "I'm here to shop for myself." Roger scoffed, clearly amused. "Our cheapest item is probably more than you can afford," he muttered under his breath. Emily, maintaining her grace, walked toward the display, running her fingers gently along the handbags until she found the one she had dreamed about. As she admired the bag, Roger barked loudly, "Ma'am, I'll have to ask you to leave unless you plan to make a real purchase." At that moment, a group of customers entered the store. Among them was Detective Harris, a regular client and a respected NYPD officer, and his partner, Officer Rivera. Harris's eyes lit up when he recognized Emily. "Ms. Santos," he exclaimed warmly, crossing the store to greet her with a handshake. Roger's face drained of color. Customers watched, confused, as Harris treated Emily with obvious respect. "Everyone," Harris said loudly, smiling at Emily. "This woman gave one of the most inspiring speeches at the Business Leaders Conference last week. Changed the way I think about leadership." The whispers changed. The murmurs shifted from mockery to awe. Roger stammered, attempting a pathetic apology. "Ms. Santos, I had no idea, please." Emily held up a hand, silencing him. She wasn't going to let him reduce her dignity to his shallow judgment. Calmly, she walked to the counter, pulled out her platinum credit card, and purchased the handbag without looking back. As she exited the store, the weight of the moment lifted from her shoulders. She wasn't just walking away with a handbag. She was walking away with her head held high, having taught an entire room an unforgettable lesson. News of the incident spread like wildfire. Within 24 hours, social media exploded. Hashtags like "Shaka Respect Everyone," "Dr. Humility Matters," and "Dr. Emily Santos Inspires" trended across the country. Interviews poured in. Talk shows invited Emily to share her story. Companies reached out with endorsement offers. Meanwhile, Whitmore Luxury Boutique's reputation collapsed. Celebrities canceled their memberships. High-profile clients withdrew. Roger tried to control the damage, issuing a half-hearted public apology, but it was too late. His arrogance had destroyed the empire his father had built. Emily, on the other hand, used her new platform wisely. She founded the Santos Initiative, a nonprofit that empowered immigrant women in America to pursue careers in business and technology. She became a sought-after motivational speaker, a TEDx regular, and a beloved figure across communities. Her message was always simple yet powerful. It's not the brand you wear, the car you drive, or the house you own that defines your worth. It's the strength, resilience, and kindness you carry in your soul. Roger Whitmore sat behind his massive oak desk in his office, staring blankly at the piles of unpaid bills and cancellation notices piling up. His boutique, once the pride of Fifth Avenue, had become a ghost town. Day after day, the foot traffic dried up. Influencers he had once sneered at now wielded more power than he ever had, thanks to Emily Santos's story going viral. His pride, his wealth, his reputation, all slipping through his fingers like sand. Roger tried everything: rebranding, discounts, desperate social media apologies. But no one cared anymore. His store had become a symbol of arrogance and racism. No amount of discounts could fix a tainted soul. For the first time in his life, Roger understood what it felt like to be judged without mercy. Meanwhile, Emily's life skyrocketed into a whirlwind of success and responsibility. Invitations flooded her inbox, CNN interviews, keynote speeches at Harvard and Stanford, articles in Forbes, Time magazine covers. Everyone wanted a piece of Emily's story. She had become a symbol, not just for Filipinos, not just for immigrants, but for everyone who had ever been judged, belittled, or underestimated. But with fame came enemies, anonymous threats, racist comments. Even some jealous executives in the business world tried to smear her name with false rumors. Emily's heart grew heavier with each passing week. She had dreamed of success, yes, but she hadn't realized that standing tall would make her such a big target. Late one night, as she sat alone in her luxurious Manhattan apartment, Staring out over the glittering skyline, she whispered to herself, "I didn't come this far just to crumble." She decided she wouldn't fight her battles alone. She needed a team, not of bodyguards or PR agents, but of people who believed in justice and change. Emily founded the Phoenix League, an organization made up of successful immigrants, minorities, and allies determined to uplift communities facing discrimination. It wasn't just about giving speeches or handing out scholarships. It was about creating real structural change. She partnered with CEOs, grassroots leaders, educators, and even a few courageous politicians who dared to stand up against the rising tide of hate. Together, they launched mentorship programs, funded startups by underrepresented founders, and pushed for legislation that protected workers from discrimination based on race, accent, or appearance. One of her strongest allies became Dr. Benjamin Carter, a Harvard professor who had spent decades fighting systemic injustice. During their first meeting, Dr. Carter told Emily, "You are a storm wrapped in silk, Miss Santos. The world needs you to blow louder." It was the validation Emily didn't know she needed. The Phoenix League's first gala was a sold-out event at the Rockefeller Center. Celebrities, world leaders, and media outlets all gathered to celebrate their cause. Emily, standing at the podium in a stunning emerald gown, spoke words that echoed across the nation. "For every door slammed in our face, we will build our own houses. For every insult whispered behind our backs, we will write our own histories. For every hand that points down at us, we will reach 10 more hands lifting others up." Tears filled the eyes of many in the room. The energy was electric. The change was real. One rainy evening, months after the gala, Emily received an unexpected letter, handwritten, not emailed. It